What if Blue Ivy wasn't Beyonce's baby? Sounds insane, right? But one woman swears she knows the truth.
This is the most disgusting one. Beyonce is going to use a surrogate so she can maintain her body.
A secret so deep, it allegedly cost someone their life. What if Beyonce's entire pregnancy was one of the biggest illusions in Hollywood history?
More disgusting than that, they're adopting, but they're going to play it off like it's allegedly, that they gave birth.
Because now, Jaguar Wright claims she knows who carried the baby, where it happened, and why it had to stay hidden. And if she's right, this story doesn't just expose a lie. It uncovers something far darker. It all started with one moment, one interview, and one impossible bend. Back in 2011, Beyoncé sat down for an Australian talk show. She smiled, adjusted her dress, and began to sit. But the second she leaned forward, her baby bum folded like a deflated balloon. The clip went viral instantly. People froze the frame, zoomed in, slowed it down. And what they saw didn't look like pregnancy. It looked like a prop. At first, everyone laughed it off. Maybe it was the dress, maybe the lighting. But mothers around the world said the same thing. That's not how a real baby bump moves. And that's when the whispers started. Maybe Beyonce wasn't pregnant at all. That maybe someone else was carrying her child secretly. The rumor spread like wildfire.
Oh no, that Blue Ivy came from a surrogate.
Some said it was vanity, others claimed it was strategy. But then, things got even stranger. Because while everyone was arguing online, Beyoncé and Jay-Z reportedly shut down an entire hospital floor for Blue Ivy's birth.
$3 million is alleged that Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right to have their baby there in complete secrecy.
Keeping cameras, patients, even doctors out.
They typically turned some of the cameras off so that there was no pictures that were being taken.
$1.3 million in privacy money, some said, a real pregnancy or a perfectly planned illusion. And just when the story began to fade, Jaguar Wright stepped in and reignited it all. Jaguar Wright. If you've heard that name before, it's probably because she's the one person in the music world who isn't afraid to talk. She used to be on the inside, performing, touring, surrounded by the same stars she now exposes. But somewhere along the line, something changed. And ever since, she's made it her mission to reveal the secrets everyone else is too scared to say out loud. She's dropped claims about secret deals, hidden cover-ups, and the dark side of fame. But her boldest one yet? That Beyonce never gave birth to Blue Ivy. According to Jaguar, the entire pregnancy was a performance, perfectly staged for the cameras, while another woman carried the child in secret. She says Beyonce wore a fake bump, shut down a hospital, and paid millions to erase every trace of what really happened. Sounds crazy until you hear who she says the surrogate was. A woman who was close to Jay-Z. A woman who allegedly matched the exact pregnancy timeline. A woman who isn't alive anymore. And once her name hit the internet, the story went from rumor to something much darker. So who exactly was Kathy White, the woman Jaguar claims carried Beyonce's baby? Kathy wasn't just anyone. She worked in the entertainment industry, a publicist, fitness expert, and part-time actress who moved in the same circles as major celebrities. She wasn't famous, but she was connected. There are even photos of her at parties with Jay-Z, smiling just a few feet away from him. At first, no one thought much of it, but when Jaguar Wright mentioned Kathy's name, people started digging. And what they found was unsettling. The timelines lined up almost perfectly. The months Beyonce claimed to be pregnant matched the exact period Kathy supposedly went missing from public life. Then, just as whispers of an exclusive interview surfaced, one where Kathy allegedly planned to tell her side, she was suddenly gone. No goodbye posts, no warning, just the headline. Kathy White found dead at 28. Officially, it was a brain aneurysm.
Died in her apartment of a brain aneurysm at the age of 20.
But friends said she was healthy. No conditions, no warning signs. And the timing? Days before she was allegedly ready to speak out.
In 2011, I was the reporter Jay-Z's alleged mistress, Kathy White, was going to do an interview with and go public with her story.
Coincidence or cover-up? No one knows for sure. But this was the moment the rumors stopped being entertainment gossip and turned into something people were scared to talk about. And when journalists started asking questions about the hospital where Blue Ivy was born, things got even stranger. When Blue Ivy was born, something felt off. Not because of the baby, but because of what happened inside that hospital. Reports claim that Beyonce and Jay-Z paid $1.3 million to shut down an entire wing of Lenox Hill Hospital in New York. Not just to keep paparazzi out, but to keep everyone out. Patients who had just given birth said they couldn't even see their own baby.
$3 million is alleged that Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right to have their baby there in complete secrecy.
Hallways were blocked, cameras were disabled, and security was stationed on every corner. Doctors and nurses whispered that the place felt like a fortress. One woman even claimed she was told to turn around when she accidentally walked down the wrong hallway. Now, the hospital publicly denied it. They said no, nothing was shut down, nothing was paid for. But multiple people there that night tell a different story. A story where a celebrity couple demanded total secrecy. So why all the lockdown? Why the silence, the money, the cover? Jaguar Wright says it's simple. Beyonce couldn't risk anyone seeing the truth, that the baby being delivered wasn't hers. And when you match that with Kathy White's sudden death, the puzzle starts to look a little too perfect. But even that wasn't the end, because as more people started asking questions, the story began twisting into something far darker, something even Beyonce herself couldn't ignore. After Kathy White's death, the story stopped being gossip. It turned into a mystery no one wanted to touch. A healthy 28-year-old gone overnight.
Our colleagues, they told me that she's dead. And I said, what? What happened to her? This was just a beautiful, young, seemingly healthy 28-year-old woman.
Official cause, brain aneurysm. But friends said she was fine. She didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't even have headaches. She'd just been working, answering calls, and days before her death, allegedly preparing to go public. Then nothing. Phone calls stopped. Messages unanswered.
So a few days go by and I'm following up with her, I'm calling her, and I can't get a hold of her.
And when the news finally broke that she was gone, it didn't even make headlines. But the strangest part? A reporter who'd spoken to Kathy claimed she was ready to share her story, an interview about her connection to one of the biggest names in music. A few days later, she was found dead.
And it certainly is very convenient for Jay-Z, isn't it, that she died.
People started asking questions no one could answer. Was it coincidence? Or was someone silencing her before she could talk? And just as that conversation began heating up again, something even weirder happened. Beyonce released songs like Heaven and Daughter, with lyrics about bloodstains, loss, and a life cut short. Fans couldn't ignore it. Some said it was art. Others said it was a confession. And while the world debated theories, Jaguar Wright doubled down, claiming the truth was darker than anyone dared to believe. You'd think by now, with all the rumors, all the claims, all the so-called evidence, Beyonce's team would have shut this down years ago. But here's what's strange. They never did. No public lawsuit, no fiery statement, just silence. And that silence, it only made the story grow louder. Because when you're as powerful as Beyonce and Jay-Z, people assume that no response means something's being protected. Every denial from the hospital, every no comment from insiders, it only added fuel to the fire. Even talk show hosts started tiptoeing. A few clips got edited, statements retracted. It's like the whole industry suddenly remembered who they were dealing with, the Carters, a brand built on perfection, privacy, and power. Jaguar Wright kept talking, claiming she had more proof, but nothing official ever came out. No police reports, no interviews, no follow-ups, just that eerie silence. And yet, no one's ever sued her. No cease and desist, no gag order, nothing. Almost like both sides know something the public doesn't. And maybe that's the most unsettling part. Not what's been said, but what's never been denied. It's been over a decade since that interview, that moment the world started questioning everything. And somehow, the rumor refuses to die. Every few years, it comes back. New clips, new claims, new proof. But through it all, Beyonce never blinks, never explains, never feeds it. Maybe that's power. Maybe that's guilt. Or maybe it's just part of the image she's spent her whole life protecting. Because whether you believe the surrogate story or not, one thing's undeniable. Nobody controls their narrative like Beyonce. Every photo, every word, every silence feels intentional. And that's what makes this story so addictive. It's not just about a pregnancy. It's about control, about how far power, fame, and image can stretch the truth. Did Jaguar Wright uncover something real? Or did she just give a new voice to one of the internet's longest running myths? No one knows. And maybe that's the point. Because in a world built on perfection, sometimes the mystery is the only thing that feels real. What's wild is that even after all these years, no one actually knows the truth. No proof, no confession, no real closure. But maybe that's why this story still hits so hard. Because it's not just about Beyonce, it's about how untouchable the elite can seem. A single rumor turned into a decade-long mystery. A mystery that's outlived the woman at the center of it and still divides fans every time her name comes up. And let's be honest, people don't question things that feel ordinary. They question what feels too perfect. And Beyonce, she's built an empire on perfection. That's what keeps this story alive. That tiny, quiet, what if that no amount of fame can erase? What if the world's biggest star really did pull off the most flawless illusion in pop culture history? What if the truth was buried under money, power, and silence? Or what if the rumor was never about Beyoncé at all, but about how much we want to believe that even the perfect ones have secrets. Because in Hollywood, every story has layers, and sometimes the silence is the loudest part of all. Silence. That's all we've ever gotten. No interviews, no clarifications, no here's the truth moment from Beyoncé herself. Just nothing. And yet, that nothing says everything. Because silence isn't weakness, not when you're someone like her. It's strategy, control, power. Every time the rumor resurfaces, the internet explodes, millions of views, millions of comments, and still, the Carters never flinch. They let the noise build until it burns out on its own. But here's the twist. That silence has become part of their legend. It's what keeps people guessing, keeps Beyoncé's name immortal, keeps her mystique untouchable. Because maybe the truth doesn't matter anymore. Maybe what matters is that everyone's still talking, still analyzing, still wondering if the world's most perfect couple built their empire on something fake. And if that's true, if all it takes is mystery to stay powerful, then maybe silence really is the most dangerous weapon in Hollywood. Because the less you say, the more people believe you have to hide. Maybe the truth is buried forever. Maybe only 3 people really know what happened: Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and the one woman who can't speak for herself. But that's the thing about secrets in Hollywood. They don't die. They just get quieter until someone brave enough drags them back into the light. For some, this story is nothing more than conspiracy. For others, it's the proof they've been waiting for. But whichever side you're on, one fact is impossible to ignore. This rumor has lasted longer than most careers. And every time it comes back, it reminds the world of one truth. Even legends bleed when mystery touches their name. Because perfection sells, but mystery lasts forever. So maybe Beyoncé didn't fake anything. Or maybe she faked everything, and we were all just watching the best performance of her life. Either way, the question still hangs in the air. Was Blue Ivy's birth a miracle or a masterpiece? Tell me what you believe in the comments, because this story might not be over yet. And if you thought this story was wild, wait till you hear what's happening with another music legend. A story that's darker, stranger, and somehow even more hidden. Because behind every perfect smile in Hollywood, there's always a shadow.